What's going on, guys? PlotArmorCards in the house, and today I am back with even more Fluffle duels. That's right, I really love this deck, and I think I've been having some interesting duels with it ever since I got bored of the Synchro Festival. So let me go ahead and show you what I got. I know this does need some improvement. I got to put some maxis and whatnot in here. I used two different accounts for Master Duel. One of them has maxis on there, and this one I believe doesn't have any maxis. So I got to work on getting maxis. I do have 45 UR, so I'll work on that. So I run one Fluffle Wings, Fluffle Octopus, playset of Fluffle Owl, you got a Fluffle Sheep, two Edgem Sabers, two copies of Fluffle Bear, one Ash Blossom. This is weird, honestly. I might just switch this out for a Maxi because it has not been coming in handy so far. Because most of the time I win in like 1 or 2 turns, so it doesn't not too much. Three copies of Edgem Scythe, three copies of Fluffle Dog, three copies of Edgem Chain, three Fluffle Penguins, one Dolphin, got a Raigeki, three Polys, two Frightfur Fusions, three Foolish Burial Goods, three Frightfur Patchworks, one copy of Frightfur Repair, playset of Toy Vendor, and for the extra deck, I'm running three copies of Frightfur Sheep. Now, this is mostly just to use with in combo with Frightfur Cruel, just to dump stuff. I'm running two copies of Frightfur Wolf. I got a copy of Frightfur Chimera, one copy of Sabertooth, two copies of Frightfur Kraken, two copies of Frightfur Daredevil, two copies of, again, the mentioned Cruel Whale, and then I'm running a copy of Dangerous Frightfur Nightmare. Now, I know this extra deck could use a little bit of work. Maybe I can put in a Vertianaconda. There's one more Frightfur card I know that when you poly summon it, you can destroy monsters or cards on the field equal to the amount of material. I think I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but I'm working on that one as well. So hopefully I will get that soon. And without further ado, let's look at some of these duels, guys. All right, guys. So duel number one, I draw Fluffle Wings, Edgem Chain, a Poly, a Toy Vendor, which I'm going to play, as well as Frightfur Patchwork. And then I'm going to, after playing the Toy Vendor, I'm going to use Frightfur Patchwork to add a Poly and an Edgem card. So I'm going to add Edgem Scythe, since I already have Chain and its effect is once per turn. So I'm going to fuse the Edgem Chain with the Fluffle Wings in order to summon my Frightfur Kraken in defense mode. I'm going first, so I got to play a little bit more defensively. And then my Chain's effect activates. I can add a Frightfur Fusion to my hand. I'm going to use it right away. Fuse the same two materials I had before. Just for more protection, I'm going to bring out a second copy of Frightfur Kraken. So with that, I'm going to save the rest of the stuff for next turn. And I'm going to be careful about this. So now that it's his turn, he's going to be using That Grass Looks Greener. So it's safe to assume he's using a Skull Servant deck. And then he's going to use Lightning Vortex. He's going to discard a card. But then I can go into Edgem Scythe, can chain to fuse. And I only have one option right now in order to fight for Sabertooth. And now that Scythe is in the graveyard, I can banish it to negate his effect. He's going to go for King of the Skull Servants to destroy my monster. I am the master of Skull Servants, okay? I know exactly about how this deck operates. You're not getting one over me on Skull Servants, at least. Now I have a Poly. I'm going to use my Toy Vendor's effect, discard my Edgem Chain in order to add Fluffle, to draw one, and it happens to be Fluffle Dolphin, so I can special summon it. Then Edgem Chain allows me to add a Frightfur Patchwork to my hand. I'm going to use it right away. That allows me to add a Poly, plus an Edgem Scythe. So now I'm set. And then I'm going to activate that Poly. And then I'm going to fuse the two cards in order to summon Cruel Whale. Cruel Whale's effect is going to activate. I can destroy one, plus Dolphin as well, but I can destroy one card on my side of the field to destroy one card on his side of the field. So I'm going to destroy my Toy Vendor, and his King of the Skull Servants is going to get destroyed. And the Dolphin allows me to shuffle a Poly back into my deck. And then since Toy Vendor is destroyed, I can add Fluffle Dog to my hand. Then I can normal summon the Fluffle Dog. That allows me to search Edgem Sabers to my hand. And then Cruel Whale's effect is going to activate. I can send my Sheep to the grave in order to increase its attack. Then I'm going to play Poly in order to fuse, summon Frightfur Daredevil, and look at the attack power I have right now. I can put an end to this guy pretty easily. Alright, guys, duel number 2. So I draw another Wings, another Chain, another Poly, another Toy Vendor, but this time I draw Foolish Burial Goods. So that's enough just to pop off crazy amounts of combos. So I'm going to Foolish Burial my Toy Vendor. Its effect is going to activate. I'm going to add a Fluffle Penguin to my hand. And then I'm going to play Poly. I'm going to fuse the Edgem Chain and the Fluffle Penguin, both which have various effects when they ascend to the grave. And the other one, when it's sent to the grave, is fusion material. So Fluffle Penguin and Edgem Chain's effects are going to activate and change. So first, Edgem Chain is going to allow me to add Frightfur Patchwork to my hand, and then my Fluffle Penguin is going to allow me to draw 2 and discard 1, I believe. So I discard 1, and then I play my Frightfur Patchwork, which allows me to add the Poly and an Edgem Scythe. And I'm going to normal summon my Fluffle Owl. That allows me to search another Poly for later, and my Fluffle Wings effect is going to activate. I can banish itself and the penguin in order to destroy my toy vendor and draw a card, I believe. And this is insane because look at the recyclability of this hand specifically that I just got. Now I'm going to discard the bear in order to play another toy vendor, and I'm going to end because my Egypt Scythe will allow me to fuse or whatever on my opponent's turn. So it just depends on what he draws and what he's using here. And he seems to be using a Galaxy Eyes deck. It's a deck I honestly come across a lot, so I'm pretty familiar with it, even though I don't have one in real life. But I've come across it so much on Master Duel, I'm pretty familiar with it. And he just sets a bunch of cards, and he's about to end, so he must have had like a bad hand or something. So I'm going to go into Cruel Whale. Cruel Whale's effect is going to activate. I can destroy my toy vendor, destroy his face down, which is honest. And now that my Cruel Whale's effect has been gone through, I can use his second effect in order to send a sheep from my extra deck to the grave in order to increase his attack. Plus, my toy vendor lets me add a card from my deck to my hand. And in this case, it's going to be Fluffle Penguin. And now I draw a dog, which is insane. Look at my hand. This is, but I think Foolish Bear of Goods is kind of useless right now because all three of my toy vendors are in the grave. So if I end up discarding something, it's going to be that in the future. I get another Cruel Whale. Cruel Whale's effect is going to activate. I can destroy one to destroy one of his, but also my Edgem Chain and Penguin again are going to activate their effects. So this chain is just, it gets bigger and bigger, guys. So it's going to resolve, and then Cruel Whale allows me to destroy one of mine to destroy one of his, but my Edgem Scythe in the grave can banish itself to prevent my card from being destroyed. And so look at all this stuff that's just popping off in a row. Then I can normal summon Fluffle Dog. That allows me to add Fluffle Octopus to my hand. Then I'm going to play Polly again. That allows me to fuse the Dolphin and Edgem Scythe in order to summon Frightfur Daredevil. And holy crap, he just goes ahead and quits because I got too much on my plate right now. All right, round number 3. So Fluffle Owl, a Edgem Chain, Fluffle Penguin, a Polly. Oh, excuse me, I had to sneeze there. But this guy has 3 cards face down, and he plays Maiden, so it's safe to assume he's using a Blue Eyes deck. And so I'm going to be using my Toy Vendor right off the bat, and then I'm going to use my Polly to fuse my Chain and Penguin in order to summon Cruel Whale. Cruel Whale's effect is going to activate as well as Penguin and Chains. So within the chain, it's going to be Cruel Whale, and then Chain, and then Penguin. So as it goes off in succession, I can destroy my Toy Vendor, destroy his face down, and then I can add a Frightfur Patchwork to my hand, and then I can draw 2 and discard 1, and I choose to discard my Fluffle Wings. And since Toy Vendor went to the grave, I added Edgem Sabers, and then this thing's effect activates. I can send a sheep to raise its attack. Then I'm going to activate Frightfur Patchwork to add a Polly and an Edgem Scythe. And then I'm going to normal summon Fluffle Owl. That allows me to just fuse with it. And I'm going to summon Frightfur Kraken. And Kraken, I did this on purpose because I just want to destroy his card. I know he can use it to summon Blue Eyes, but I need it off the field regardless. So I'm going to use Kraken's effect to destroy his monster. He's going to chain it with his Maiden with Eyes of Blues effect to summon a Blue Eyes. But I can get over it. And then he activates Guard Dragon. I don't even know what the hell that thing's card, but he can destroy 1 dragon monster, destroy 2 of my monsters. And I'm like, okay, maybe I messed up here. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I have Frightfur Fusion, so it's not as bad as you'd think. And this guy is going to be using Call of the Haunted. So since I'm using Frightfur Fusion, I can fuse monsters in my graveyard by banishing them. And I got a bunch of monsters in the grave right now. So Frightfur Fusion is allowing me to banish Fluffle Wings, the Sheep, and Fluffle Owl in order to summon Frightfur Sabertooth. And Sabertooth's effect is going to activate. I can special summon 1 from my graveyard, and I'm going to go for Frightfur Kraken since it can destroy a monster on the field. So I'm going to destroy his Blue Eyes and then attack directly with Frightfur Sabertooth. And now that it is his turn, I'm hoping because even if he has something with 3,000, he can't target my monster, so he has no choice but to destroy Frightfur Kraken with Smashing Ground. I think Smashing Ground is highest defense anyway, so that would have been that one. And now that I draw Polly, I can fuse both of these. I'm going to go into Daredevil, and Daredevil is summoned, so Fluffle Penguin's effect is going to activate. I draw a Toy Vendor, so I'm going to discard the Toy Vendor, that's for sure. And then I'm going to activate Fluffle Bear's effect, but as I'm about to do that, he quits. All right, guys. Final duel. Now I got a Penguin, a Polly, a Foolish Burial Goods, which always pops out so many combos, and then Patchwork and a Repair. And normally you don't want Repair. You usually send it with Frightfur Cruel Will. You don't want to see Patchwork in your hand most of the time. But in some situations it has been helpful. But I'm going to use my Patchwork in order to add a Polly plus Edgem Chain, and then I'm going to fuse the Penguin and the Chain in order to summon Kraken, and then Penguin and Chain's effects are going to activate. And I'm going first, so I'm going to be very careful about this. I'm just going to be playing very defensively. I always do this whenever I go first. Frightfur Fusion in my hand, and then Penguin allows me to search Foolish Burial Goods as well as Edge Imp Scythe, or allows me to draw two, sorry, and discard one. It just happened to be these. And now I'm going to use Fluffle Bear's effect, discard it to play a Toy Vendor, and immediately I'm going to flip that Toy Vendor, and I'm going to activate Frightfur Fusion. That allows me to fuse those two cards in the Grave, Bear, and Edge Imp Chain in order to summon a second copy of Kraken. And I have Edge Imp Scythe on the field, or on my hand, so I can go into... I can quick effect and go into Whale if I need to and destroy one of his cards. So he's using Constellar Belt, Constellar Star Chart. So he's using a Constellar deck. It's pretty obvious there based on the cards that he played. And he's using his effect, and I'm going to chain with Cruel Whale. Or sorry, Edge Imp Scythe to go into Cruel Whale. So I'm going to summon Cruel Whale now, and Cruel Whale's effect is going to activate, but not before he gets to summon a monster. That doesn't really matter to me, though, because I can destroy one card on my field to destroy his monster. And now he's going to Ash Blossom because my Toy Vendor would have gotten me an extra card. And so he Ash Blossoms a Toy Vendor. And if he had that to begin with, I don't know why he didn't use it earlier. And my Cruel Whale's effect is going to activate. I can dump one in the grave in order to raise his attack, just in case for defensive purposes. And he doesn't have anything else, so he goes ahead and ends. He doesn't have a single card in his hand. And I have two Foolish Burial Goods, so I'm going to activate one of them right away. And he uses his Solemn Judgment on my Foolish Burial Goods. Okay. And so he wastes half his life points when he has a 1600 attack point monster, and my monsters are insane in level of attacks, and he realizes he can't do anything, and so that's an L for that one too. Well, guys, thank you for sitting through my Frightfur duels. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. And oh my goodness, look at the time.
It's time to do